Hey, this is Ben. This is another edition of React Hacks. Today I want to show you the first in two parts of how I've added this credit card payments feature to this application. I'm using Stripe. What Stripe is going to do is take the credit card information and then pass back to me a token. Then I'm going to send that token back to Stripe along with all the details of the order, and Stripe will handle the payment method from that point on. And this sort of involves two steps. There's a lot of configuration, and that's what I'm going to cover today. First thing you're going to want to do is go to Stripe and create a free account, and Stripe is then going to give you these API keys. So when I talk about configuration, I'm really talking about how you're going to store these keys and environmental variables, and then how you're going to access those values within the application. And I've built my backend with Ruby on Rails and my frontend with React, and getting environmental variables and setting them up looks a little bit different for both of those two languages. So let me show you what I'm talking about. And I'm going to start in the backend. So to create an environmental variable in Ruby on Rails, I created this file called local-env.yaml, and that is inside of my config folder here. Excuse me. And then I've created these key value pairs that kind of look like a hash table. Technically they're not, but it sort of mimics their look. And you're going to have your key, which is written in all caps, then a colon, and then the value of the API key saved as a string. Then you're going to go to the application.rb file, which is inside of config/initializers, or no, it's just inside of your config. Yeah, inside of your config directory. And before you load your defaults, you want to add this bit of code right here. And what it's going to do is look for that file you just created, that local env.yaml, and it's going to take those key value pairs and format them to look like this. So capital ENV, your square brackets equals to the value. And in practice, what that looks like is inside of this stripe.rb file, which is inside of my config/initializers directories, I'm going to use those key value pairs formatted as so here. And this is where I configure Stripe using Ruby on Rails. And so you're just going to add Rails, your configuration method, and then create this hash tables using those key value pairs you just created. And finally, you're going to add the API key to Stripe, which is the same as your secret key. So that's how you add an environmental variable in Ruby on Rails and then implement it. To do that in React, you're going to create a file called .env.local and save that to your root directory, and then add your key value pairs. And it looks very similar to Ruby on Rails. The key difference is this equal sign. I actually lost about an hour of my time because I learned JavaScript, and so when I create an environmental variable, I'm always used to using this equal sign. Well, in Ruby on Rails, you use a colon, and in JavaScript, you use an equal sign, and so that caused me a lot of, I lost a little bit of time. Another thing you have to do with React is you have to prefix your keys in your environmental variables with React_app. And to use this value, I can run this method called process.env and then pass to it the key where that value is stored. So now we have configured Stripe, and in the next video I'm going to show you how to use it so that we can process credit card payments. Thank you.